Big changes are coming for anyone planning to visit Spain or any Schengen country in 2025. From October 12th, the European Union will introduce the Entry-Exit System, or EES, replacing manual passport stamps with digital records. Every entry and exit will be logged automatically, tracking the exact length of your stay. Remember, tourists can only stay 90 days within a 180-day period. Overstaying could mean fines or future travel bans, so plan your trip carefully and stay informed.
Been announced that the European EES, the Entry and Exit System, will be rolling out on the 12th of October 2025. I had some questions about when the ETIAS will be coming into place, but it did have to wait for the EES to be in place before they're going to roll out the ETIAS system. The EES is essentially a digital border, so when you get to the E-gates you will scan your passport as normal, but then you'll also have a face photo taken as well as 4 fingerprints taken. Although under 12s will be exempt from having their fingerprints taken. Even though the rollout is starting in October, they're hoping that the whole process will be fully in place by April 26th. So during this time, they will still be stamping passports. This is just so if you happen to enter somewhere where there's no biometrics, but then you leave somewhere with biometrics, they still have the stamps, so they'll still be able to know when you enter and exit. But eventually the stamps will go and it will be fully digital. I went through the airport in Gran Canaria the other week and they did have e-gates in place where you were just scanning your passport as normal, but then it did have the biometrics functions there. They just weren't being used when I went through them. So they are then hoping that 6 months after April would be when the ETIAS gets introduced. This would be the visa waiver, which you'll have to pay for and fill in online before you arrive in the EU. It will be for all 29 EU and Schengen area countries. They currently expect it to cost €20 and it's valid for 3 years. But if you are under 18 or over 70, you will be exempt. It's a good idea to always get into the habit of checking gov.uk before you travel, because that way if you put in, say, Spain entry requirements, if the ETIAS is then in place, it will give you all the links on where to get it then.
Shalom. First and foremost, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha, Kadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of the great millstone who do rule and teach well. Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Barakatham, peace and blessings, as always, to the hopefully elect. So it's the brother Azariah, back with another lesson through the spirit. And as you saw in those opening TikTok clips, this is what's coming down the pipe. And I remember doing a lesson on this same exact very thing with the UK implementing this border pass change, because to my knowledge Britain is not a part of the EU because they separated from the EU in that Brexit thing that happened a few years ago. So anybody from UK that want to travel to, I guess, continental Europe, they would now have to get a biometric pass to enter. All right, now in the article I remember going into, they didn't have a set date, but it was something that they were talking about. All right, and this had to be about a month, maybe a month and a half ago, and now they've announced the date being October 12th. 2025 when this change is going to occur. So through the spirit, we'll get into this article and some precepts as well. And Lord willing, this is edifying. So right here from Express, EU to make huge change at borders from October 12th. This change will affect non-EU members, including Brits. It says new changes will occur for those traveling in the EU from October 2025. Instead of getting your passport stamped, this will now be replaced by biometric checks from October 12th. So as the men of the Lord, the prophets, have been telling you through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, these visions are not tearing no longer, man. We're really in crunch time. We're in the last seconds of these last days, because we see that these devils at the top, they're rapidly implementing this beast system. You see, in which everything is going to be tracked, traced, and ultimately they want to be underneath your skin. And that's going to come in the form of the RFID micro C-hip, which is, according to Revelation 13 and 16 on down, the MOTB, the mark, all right, in which you will need to receive in order to buy and sell and to operate within this beast system. Without that mark, you will not be allowed to function. All right. And this is all a part of the fourth industrial revolution, where they plan to merge man with technology. You see, merge man with machine. All right, we've heard over the years this same very plan come out from the likes of Klaus Schwab and Gates, and Jeff Bezos and all these technocrats that you see surround Trump in the White House when he first came in. You know what I'm saying? Now you got Dr. Oz coming out, talking about he wants to, pretty much implement this new, health system in which everything is going to be pretty much digital. All right. So the whole world is moving towards the ultimate goal of putting a chip in you. Okay. So when you go into this word right here, biometric, let's get into this. Biometric means involving the automated recognition of individuals by means of unique physical characteristics relating to or involving the application of statistical analysis to biological data. All right. Now, bio, that goes into life or the body, and metric, of course, means to measure. All right. So these devils, they want to measure the body or measure your life force. You see, we've constantly gone into lessons, showing you the receipts, the articles, that what they've been talking about since the onset of the Great Reset in 2020 is exactly what's folding out here. All right. They were talking about then being able to know what people are thinking, being able to know if you have a disease before you know that you have it. You see, they want to know where you go, right? Who you're talking to. Like this is a complete system of oppression in which you're not going to be able to escape and get away from, man. All right. So this is why we call upon Yahweh Bashmel Shai to free us from the hands of these strange children, from the hands of the wicked. You see, because the earth is already bad, but what these devils want to do is even worse. Is if this stuff wasn't in the scriptures, man, this would be unimaginable. All right, to live in a system like this. But nonetheless, this is what's coming. So, and keep in mind as well, right now, they're gonna use this biometric thing, but very soon they're gonna mandate, because right now it's gonna be like optional. Okay, but the time is gonna come where they will mandate the chip. All right, they will mandate the chip and pretty much cause you to get this thing at the expense of losing your job, losing your house, getting benefits, getting food, water, because these devils are also cutting off the food supply. Okay, and that's really gonna be the main catalyst of making people bow the knee to the image of Baal. All right, when they can't eat, man. All right, so hey, man, these visions are being made clear in this time, if you can see through the spirit. And this is going down in October 12th, 2025. Okay, so in just a few short months, this is going to be the norm over there in the EU. Officials have confirmed the new plans, which were due to happen last November, but instead face delays. The new system will replace paper checks and will mean passengers now have to have their fingerprints and faces scanned at the EU border. You see that? So now paper is no longer good enough. All right, now ID is no longer good enough. Just like how in May over here in the US, they now require you to have a real ID to travel at all airports. And if you don't have the real ID, they pretty much make it so tedious and just so frustrating for you to get on a flight without it, then many people now have just opted to get it because it's more convenient. And this is the same thing they're going to do with this biometric pass right here. Okay, they pretty much forcing you to get it. All right, and if you don't, well, you're not going to be able to do go about your daily business, so to speak. You see that? Esau Edom is a damn devil, man. But this is to fulfill prophecy. Is this to fulfill the will of Yahweh Bashmiel Shai? It says people from the UK will need to register their biometric data with passport details to enter an EU country. If you refuse, pay attention right here. If you refuse to provide biometric data, which would be a fingerprint, eyeball scan, face scan, things such as that, right? You will be denied entry into the EU. So if you don't abide by their wicked laws and decrees, then they're going to cut you off, all right? It's going to be the same. Listen, man, this is the same thing it says in Revelation 13 and 16, all right? Because they're going to, right now, this is travel, and it tells you in 2nd Ezra 15 that a man shall desire to go into a city but shall not be able, all right? So right now it's travel, but very soon, this going to be the same way that they're going to cause you to receive this biometric incentive so that you can eat or so that you can travel or do do whatever. All right, it says whether you are traveling by plane, boat, or train. God damn, you see. So even if you say, all right, I don't want to get on a plane, I'm gonna take a boat, right? Or if you say, you know what, I'm not going to take a boat or a plane, I'm going to take the train just to avoid all that. It says there will be places for scanning your fingerprint and taking a photo. So these devils are making it to where there's going to be no escape to this. They're making it to where you will have no other option, all right? The only other option that you're going to have is to swim or walk. But even then, if you don't have, like how they telling you, if you don't have this biometric pass, you're not going to be allowed into the EU. You see? So this is where we at, man. All right, Yahweh Bashmel Shai is manifesting the end right before our very eyes. This will be valid for 3 years once you have initially provided the data. After this, the process will be much quicker as you will only need to get your data verified when traveling. If you overstay the 90-day limit without a visa, your data will be held for 5 years instead of 3. So again, all right, complete control. Now these devils are even telling you how long that you can stay. All right, so a person from UK traveling to, let's say, France, right? They can only stay for 90 days and then they got to return back to the UK. So these devils are really taking all control over every aspect of your life. The reason behind the new rules is to help tighten border security. And you see, this is in the name of peace and safety. All right. Some are worried about long queues, which may form when the system is first introduced, as providing data and checks can take several minutes. Despite the concerns, the EU has said that once checks are initially done, the new scheme will shorten wait times overall. All right, so peace and safety and convenience are the main reasons as to why they feel as though they need to implement this. But again, this is all to fulfill the will of Yahweh Bashmel Shai and bring about the end of this wicked world. And we know, as as we've been saying, that the end is not going to come until the mark Salakia is implemented, all right, meaning that the MOTB must come first, then full-scale war, World War III is going to break out, all right, and then it's going to be the return of Hamashiach Yahushai, whom the world called Christ, man. But see, this right here is the first thing that got to go down. And meanwhile this is happening, you're having so many war tensions happen over there in the so-called Middle East, Western Asia. All right, you having so much going on at the same time. So the Lord is setting everything up. We in that time, brothers. All right, so we're going to go to, let's get, what do I want to get? Let's get Revelation 3 and 10. All right, let's get that. Because this is the hour of temptation right here that's coming, and we may be on, hey, we don't know how it's going to go, man, but there, we know it's going to come a time where we're going to have to completely separate from this system cold turkey. You know what I'm saying? Because right now they talking about the stable coins and all of that. That's not the MOTB in and of itself. So, hey, who knows? The way it might go, brothers may need to use that. But when they get to talking about, you got to get a implantable chip inside your body, that's what we got to cut it off. That's what we like, hell no. All right. We're going to run the other way, man, because we already know what's going on. So this is Revelation 3 and 10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. And see, this system right now is happening in the EU. But very soon this thing is going to be worldwide because all these nations are on board. It's going to be the same thing here in America. It's going to be in Canada. It's going to be in Mexico, Brazil, South Africa, you name it. The whole world is going to be on this system, man. That's why it says, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. All right. So the Lord is going to bring this trial with this MOTB, because if you receive the beast mark, that means that you pledging your allegiance to him. That means that you making him your God. All right. And that you're forsaking Yahweh Bashmel Shai. And when you read Revelation, the 14th chapter, it tells you what's going to happen to those that take the MOTB. You know what I'm saying? That they're going to meet a bitter end. Okay? So this is where it's all leading to, man. The hour of temptation, the time of Jacob's trouble, a time of great wars, great disease, great pestilence. You having earthquakes all over the place. The signs are there. All the signs that are here in this present time to where we can see clearly the vision of the end. All right. Let's get 2nd Ezra, the 5th chapter and verse 1. It says, nevertheless, as coming the tokens, behold, the days shall come that they which dwell upon earth shall be taken in a great number, and the way of truth shall be hidden, and the land shall be barren of faith. You see, so when it says, nevertheless, as coming the tokens, these tokens are referring to the prophecies. You see, the things that were written aforetime, which we see happening right now. All right. So the Lord is giving us the tokens. The Lord is making the vision plain upon tables in these last days. And this is why you have the men of the Lord, the prophets, on the scene to relay the message to you. All right. So that you can yourself be aware of what time it is and walk before Yahweh Bashmil Shai accordingly. Okay. Yeah, but we're in a time, man, where iniquity is at an all-time high. Sin upon sin is at an all-time high. Faith is pretty much at an all-time low because this world itself is passing away. So the tangible things, all the vanity of this world that people believed in and trusted in, it's no longer giving them comfort. You know what I'm saying? So it's causing them to lose faith. And this is why you see people crashing out at an all-time high. All right? But the thing is, you ain't seen nothing yet. If you think it's bad now, just wait until Esau really dries up all the comfort, to where you don't even see food no more. All right. Those are times we coming into. So yeah, we in some very evil days, man. When you go to Ezekiel 7 and verse 5, it says, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, an evil and only evil, behold, is come. An end is come, the end is come. It watches for thee, behold, it is come. So only evil is coming, man. All right. People that's thinking, that it's going to be okay, that, we going to get through this. Nah. You see, you're not going to make it through these times without Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Okay, because the Lord is going to make sure that you don't. All right. You're not going to mock the Lord and think that you're going to somehow avoid the judgment that's coming upon the earth, man. No. Only those that call upon the name of Yahweh Bashmel Shai in truth and sincerity and faith are going to be kept. Everybody else is pretty much dog food out here. Okay? Let's go to Romans 13. Yeah, it's almost over, brothers. We just got to hang on just a little bit longer, and the Lord is going to be with us. Romans 13 in verse 11, and that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believe. See? So it's high time to wake out of sleep, man. It's time to seek the Lord now while he may be found, because we see that Esau, all right, he's pretty much setting it up to where he's about to cut off the word from going out. all right, which pursuant to Amos 8 and 11, that there will be a famine of hearing the words of Yahweh Bashim Shai, meaning that the prophets will be silenced, all right, they'll be taken off the streets, and that this word is going to stop going forth. And at that point, that's when the real judgment is going to come. You know what I'm saying? That's when the real hell is going to come on the earth, man, because the prophets are set up to give warning of the things to come. But once the Lord removed the prophets, then there's no more warning. All right, now it's time for judgment. So these are the things that you must keep in mind in these last days, man, because you see, people may hate the prophets being out there now, but when the prophets are removed and you don't see these videos no more, that's when you should really be afraid, all right? Because then, again, there is no warning. Verse 12, the night is far spent, the day is at hand. Let us therefore cast off the works of darkness, and let us put on the armor of light. Let us walk honestly as in the day, not in rioting and drunkenness, not in chambering and wantonness, not in strife and envying. But put ye on the Lord Hamashiach Yahushai, and make not provisions for the flesh to fulfill the lusts thereof. So it's time to get serious, Jake. You know, it's time to really lock in, because this beast system that we see, it's already happening. It's already set up. It's only a matter of time. You know, this thing is not a matter of if, but when. All right? We see it. So October 12th, this is what's going to be happening in the EU. And we'll see what happens over here in America, because, you know, there's, man, it's like it's so much stuff going on. You know, so many rumors going around. Before this even takes place, there could be a blackout. There could be a black swan event. We just don't know. You know what I'm saying? So as it says in 2 Timothy's the 3rd chapter, that, you know, we're in the midst of perilous times. So you just got to be very aware, be having your head on a swivel at all times, man, because the devil is working. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and close out. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying through the Rakah Kadash, call Halal, Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Rakah Kadash. And until next time, Lord willing, Shalom to the elect, Kwam Yashala, Wa Baba Bo.